Thank you, Kim, and thank you to all of you. It is extremely difficult in just a few minutes to cover all the ways that spending 5 years of my emerging adulthood with an organization like Franciscan Mission Service has impacted me. I have the opportunity to literally learn something new every week. But something that has really touched me has been the core values of Franciscan Mission Service, which we describe as the 4 R's: relational, reconciling, radical, and relevant. And for me, based on my experiences, if I were to summarize these 4 R's into just one word, that word would be love. The Bible commands us again and again, love my neighbor. But how? How do we love them? How do we actually live out this gospel call to love? Well, we do that by being relational, reconciling, radical, and relevant. It is through these 4 R's of love that we have meaningful encounters with our brothers and sisters around the world and in our neighborhoods, and we address their suffering. Most importantly, it is through these 4 R's of love that we can open our hearts and minds and allow ourselves to be transformed by the experiences and the people that we encounter. As Kim mentioned, in my time at FMS, I have worked with 28 overseas missioners and 19 nonprofit servant leadership associates in DC. So that's 47 people who have chosen to dedicate a part of their life to full-time service. And over the years, I've seen so much transformation on the part of these missionaries and volunteers. But it would be impossible for me to not have gone through the past 5 years of reading their reports, editing their reflections, and corresponding with them, and for myself to not be changed. I think this is what attracts others to FMS. The examples of these compassionate, courageous, and countercultural lay individuals inspires us and challenges us to do better, to be better. In my case, these 47 individuals have pushed me down an ongoing path of conversion as I slowly learn to respond from the heart. Like a good Franciscan, with the heart, I can better comprehend and sort through the gray areas and many layers that accompany the challenges of our world, and hopefully, eventually, respond with love. And I want to share with you 2 instances that happened in my life. Just 2 times when this FMS lesson snuck in when I wasn't expecting it. Last holiday season, my mom and I went to Mass at my childhood parish, and like many churches, there was an angel tree, offering opportunities for parishioners to buy presents for children. A few of these opportunities were requests made by people in prison for specific toys for their children. I turned to my mom and said that we needed to do this. And she was really hesitant because she had already bought toys for another organization. And we went back and forth, and she finally agreed. And when she agreed, she said, okay, it's not like it's the kids' fault that their dad is in jail anyway. And I had this gut reaction. It wasn't sitting well with me in her comment. Because flooding to my mind were the stories from missioners who have been working in prison ministry in Bolivia these past 5 years and before I even got here. And in so many of their stories, the people that they were working with were from deeply impoverished communities, and they were incarcerated in part due to crimes related to their survival. And so many other stories from missioners that focus on the importance of relationships, both in the prison rehabilitation process, but also in general. And so here I was, spending the holidays with my mom, and afterwards I returned to DC with these great memories and some presents that would remind me how she loved me. And now before us was this chance to stand in the gap for a family divided, to help this man give a soccer ball to his young son, so that when his son plays with the ball, he would know that his dad loves him, even though they are apart. And this is something that wouldn't have gone through my mind prior to my time at FMS. My second story is a scene that is quintessential DC. Young urban professionals enjoying brunch downtown on a spring day. And on this day, when my friends and I were dining outside, a man was soliciting patrons for money. From my observation, he was most likely living on the streets and suffered from mental illness. And he was not being very polite in his asking and was using some colorful language that was upsetting a lot of people, including one of my friends. But when we left the restaurant, I stopped briefly to talk to him. His name was Ronald, and he wanted money for a KFC family meal. And I gave him some cash. This led to some tension when I rejoined my friends. Ronald's behavior had, understandably, left some feeling hurt and disgusted. It's also easy to be desensitized because it is so common for us to see homelessness in DC and maybe not know what to do. One friend asked me, "Where are your urban blinders?" And I said, "I know, but being Franciscan comes first." And I didn't even think about it, like it just came out of my mouth. And because I had sat there and watched dozens of people walk past this man and ignore him, no matter how hard he tried to get their attention. And while I was sitting there eating, I was one of them. And he was hungry in more ways than one. And I wanted him to know that someone saw him and someone heard him. And particularly because of the conversations I've had at Franciscan Mission Service, I knew in my head that this small bit of cash that I was giving to Ronald would not solve structural poverty or any of the other factors that might have led him to be begging that day. And I knew that my tiny gesture would not end hunger and homelessness in DC. And I can't even stand here today and tell you that I always stop or give when someone asks. But that day, I felt a tug in my heart, and I felt that I could not ignore Ronald. And in neither of these stories did I wake up that day and think, today I want to turn everyday moments into social justice lessons for my friends and family. I hope when the opportunity arises, I will be that annoying person. I will make a fool out of myself and make everyone around me feel a little uncomfortable. No, but I did wake up those mornings and think, today I want to love as God loves. I hope that I will respond today in a way that is relational, radical, relevant, and reconciling. Cornel West describes love as justice lived out in public. And I'm indebted to these 5 years at Franciscan Mission Service for helping me to better understand different justice issues. I'm indebted to them for showing me that living justice in public isn't always easy or comfortable, but it's so important. So I'm indebted to these 5 years at FMS for touching my head and touching my heart and teaching me how to love.